right, here we go. OverDrive off and running. TSN 1050 on the TSN app, your home smart speaker, and up on TSN 2. Bryan Hayes, the O-Dog, Jeff O'Neill, Jamie Noodles McLennan.
What's going on today?
Lots going on. Lots going on today.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hazy, you're out of luck because today's the day that Doogie turned the page and he's revved up for Game 6. And we went triple facts without you.
Wow. That means you're going to have your A game. That excites me because that means you're going to be on fire. And we got a lot to get to today. We're rolling into a long weekend. This is exactly how people want to start their long weekend. You see the news that broke an hour ago. There's cows loose on the 400. Literally cows walking around the 400 northbound in Aurora, which it's already going to take you about 4 hours to get north.
Dude, to get to Aurora.
Yeah, to get to Aurora,
Yeah.
It might take you an hour and a half, 2 hours. You know, from downtown, it might take you 2.5 hours. Anything beyond that, like you imagine that, you're thinking, what is going on up there, man? This is crazy. What's happening? And there's cows loose on the highway while you're trying to get out of town. So we got that going on. Yeah, there it is. Very comforting. Like, whose cows are those?
Like, did they come
Figure it
off
out.
of somebody's truck or did they just run out of somebody's farm along the 400 there?
Might have just walked down there, probably. Don't you
I
think?
got to think truck, man. I don't know. I've been driving up and down that highway a lot throughout my life. I've never seen, like, something like that.
Well,
You know,
where's
like
the truck? They don't just fall out. The truck keeps driving. I mean,
well, it's probably parked. It's probably, like, the traffic's crazy anyway. Maybe one of them found a way to unlock the thing, and they said, let's get out of here. Long weekend. Let's get crazy. The Leafs are playing tonight.
That is
So
weird.
anyway, that if you're on your way northbound, good luck with that because, you know, there's barnyard animals cruising around the 400. But yeah, we got the long weekend. We got the Leafs tonight, and I don't know, man. It's weird that they're playing tonight. Like it feels like, you know, yesterday it was as if they.
What's weird about it, though?
Well, yesterday the way they played Game 5
felt
Game
like the
5,
end of the season.
It was so bad and such an awful performance. And, you know, I said it this morning. It feels like they're down 0-3 in this series. They're not. Now, I think in some ways it feels that way because Florida's won 3 games in a row. And Florida continues to get more and more powerful, and the Leafs continue to kind of get weaker and weaker. But they're halfway home to the conference final. You know, I always talk about these psychological, you know, mind games you play. If you go to Game 6, someone's got to be losing 3-2. It happens to be the Leafs, and they're playing tonight. And I just don't get the sense that anyone's prepared for a massive playoff game tonight. I hope the players are.
They're not
Sure, the
prepared
players
for
are.
a massive playoff game, or are they not prepared for the Maple Leafs to come out like gangbusters? Like I've had enough of, and I'm not going to do it today. I'm not doing it tonight because the big question is every Sports Center. It's like, is today the day that Auston Matthews and Mitch Marner steps up? I've almost kind of moved past that. Where I'm looking for a Matthew Knies game, a William Nylander game, Morgan Riley possibly, the goaltender stealing one going off of Max Domi's ass in front of the net. I'm almost like moved, you know how coaches move past players? You're in a golf match and your partner's junk. You just move past him. You're like, I got to do this on my... I moved past it. Like it would almost be a bonus if those two guys contributed to a winning effort tonight. Do you not think?
I feel very similarly, yet the head coach does not. Now, I don't know if he's forcing himself into this, but Berube's sticking with the two of them playing together, Matthew Knies on their line. And why don't we play the clip? Because you knew it was coming, right? Like everyone was waiting for them to be separated in Game 5, maybe before that. And this is what Berube had to say on the reasoning for keeping the top line together this evening.
It's always a consideration. I think, you know, I've split them up this year at times, and I never felt that it really did anything, to be honest with you. You know, these guys have been a combo for a long time, and they've had a lot of success. I mean, so I trust them. I trusted them. I believe in them.
They've had a lot of success, but they've never had playoff success. That's what I...
Yeah, that is an inaccurate statement in the playoffs.
Yeah, but it's also fair for him to say, like listen, these are the guys that got you there, and it's not like everybody else played great and those two didn't. I think you just, like, last game was a tape burner, and you'd go, doesn't matter, go play again. Like, I think Chiefs passed the point of X's and O's. He's saying, get out of your own head and go play. Like, that's the message I've gotten from, listening to him talk, and that it seems like he's had little one-on-ones with guys and all that. It's just relax and play. Go play. Because last game, the Leafs looked like they were thinking the game. They looked paralyzed, and they looked like they were second on everything. Tonight, have speed, go play on your toes, be aggressive, and see what happens. I think it's going to be a tight game tonight. I really do. I think it's going to be a hard-fought, one-goal game type of thing. I'm not going to predict a winner, but I'm going to think it's going to be a good game. And
you would like to think, Jamie, that I use this term a lot when it comes to situations like this, regardless if it's the World Juniors or the Stanley Cup Finals with two different teams. It's very simple. Play according to the situation. You have to scratch and claw, and if you're going to go down, which is just another thing I've kind of moved past, you got to go down swinging, and you got to take a chunk out of them, and it's just not going to be – this is going to be – you would think that they would be saying, we have to make this the hardest game the Florida Panthers have ever played in, but they have gone to the Cup Final 2 years in a row, so that's not going to be true, but you got to try.
Yeah, ultimately that has to be a bare minimum expectation tonight if you're Craig Berube. And, listen, I think you make a good point, Noodles. It wasn't just them. It's that they have higher expectations. They're capable of more.
I agree 100%. I'm not absolving
I know
them.
what you're saying. But I think from Berube's standpoint, it's like, okay, I guess we're just going to try to 100% wash it out. Although he's taken Robertson and Camp out of the lineup, so those two, you had your chance. It didn't work, and you're done. And Holmberg and Järnkrok appear to be going back in. But I do think there's a third element to this line and this decision that is important, and that's Matthew Knies. And I think Berube looks at Knies and has belief in him and belief that he will show up and fight tonight. And maybe it's not just about Matthews and Marner. It's about the third guy playing a role and dragging them into that fight. And that playing some sort of a role in all of this. I would have liked to have seen it change, but again, that's not his style. That's not the way Berube generally operates. And it is 3-2 in the series. You're not down 0-3.
I know, but
like
it just
3-2
seems,
in the
Bryan,
series.
like they've been feeding off of each other's negativity.
That's what's weird about it.
Yeah, and it's like they're drowning out there together. It's like throw one of them a lifeline and get the hell out of there. Who knows? But the other guy in this equation is Tavares had a couple goals in, what was it, Game 3?
Yep.
He is not
blended in since. Yeah, there's been a lot of blending. A lot of
blending, so he's mixed in there too. But I would not start this game with those two together, just for the simple fact, if they don't show up and it's the same nonsense as the last game, it would be like, how could you how did you think that was going to change?
Well, and that's Berube in a way putting himself on the line, right? Like, because he said afterwards, we all got to be better, myself included. Well, his moves as of now are Järnkrok and Holmberg coming back in. So. Okay, you're not going to change it up. You're gonna believe in consistency. Okay, but now he's putting himself out there, right? The coach is putting himself out there, and he's going to trust these guys. And listen, when you're in a do or die, all you focus on clearly is the game and getting out of the game. But if you do allow for the lens to be pulled back a little bit, if they're going to win tonight, and then if they're going to win Game 7, and if they're going to go on a run, at some point those two guys have to be phenomenal. Like, you have to trust that, right, Noodles? Like,
I
almost
agree.
by fault, you're like, I have to trust it. Because you can't, using golf analogies, you can't show up at a U.S. Open and say, I'm taking my driver out of the bag. You have to hit it.
Unless you're Phil.
But you have to hit it at some point. You have to rely on them to have big performances.
I think, you're at a point here where it's sink or swim with the guys that got you there. Mm-hmm. And that's the way you look at it. And instead of going, I'm going to hide you here and I'm going to put you here and add a guy to get you going, it's like, you're big boys. Go play. And go play to your capabilities, and let's see how it unfolds. Like, to me, I think instead of skirting around the issue and, plugging this and maybe this can happen, it's like, you guys haven't played good enough. Go play better. Mm-hmm. Like, I think we're overthinking it. I think Craig Berube is just dumbing it down, going, if you guys play better, I think we have a good chance. That's really what he's saying. I take it out of that. Maybe I'm wrong, but
no, I think that's reasonable. I think that's reasonable. And listen, the other night The game is what it is. It's over now. Like we said, you lose 6-1 or you lose 1-0 in triple overtime. It's over. You're down 3-2. You got to reset. And you guys asked, me and collectively we all tried to come up with reasons as to why the Leafs can or will win tonight. And I had a difficult time narrowing down a 5-pack because
could you even write it with a straight face?
Well, I went over it last night. I'm watching the Jets play. Shout out to the Jets. They played great last night.
Great job, Jets.
Great job by Winnipeg. We'll get to that momentarily. And I'm trying to come up with different reasons, and there's a number of like legitimate hockey analysis reasons, but honestly, a few of them are just intangible things that I think you have to take into consideration. So let me throw a couple at you.
Sure.
And you guys tell me if you're buying it, or you tell me if I could see this happening. Pride is a big part of it. Like, you can't go out the way you just went out. Like, you just got destroyed on home ice. Everyone in the league is looking at you. Brad Marchand had quotes today again that I think are completely disingenuous, and he's trolling. And I've always believed when he's complimenting the Leafs about how different they are, he's always doing it with a smirk. And I think he did it again today. We'll play that. But if you're the Leafs and these guys are pumping you and everyone's doubting you and everyone's kind of laughing, like, don't you have to show up and have a killer instinct tonight? Like, don't you have to perform better and put yourself in a position to win, to redeem yourself? Doesn't mean you win Game 7.
It's really tough to even listen to you say that,
I'm
Bryan.
trying, man. I'm trying with the pride
do you know
thing,
how many
but
times
that's the truth.
that I've heard you when we play that stupid music on the funeral show that we've done for 9 straight years, where you're like, wouldn't you think, this is how you always started, wouldn't you think, with pride on the line and everything that was at stake last night, they would show up and play according to the situation? And then you finish the question with, and they didn't.
No, I know that, and maybe I will say that after tonight. But let me play the Marchand clip, and you be the interpreters here, because I'm very cynical when it comes to
I'm
Brad
not
Marchand.
as cynical as you. I'm
heard incredibly cynical. All right, here's Marchand earlier today.
It wasn't that one-sided when you look at it. Obviously we got a couple bounces, and that can dictate the outcome. But I mean, they had a lot of opportunities that, like I said, the bounces are huge. They play a huge component of the playoffs, and we got more than they did last game. They had a breakaway early, they had a post early when it was 1-0. Like, things like that change the course of a game, and it just kind of got away from them a little bit. But I don't think that the score was really an indication of how the game was played and how close it actually was. But it doesn't matter anyway. It has no impact on the game tonight. If anything, it's going to make them hungrier, to have a bounce-back game and to prove a lot of people wrong, which is a very dangerous combination.
All right, you guys go ahead. I'm not saying anything.
No,
you guys go ahead.
Okay, so I also followed up with Paul Maurice saying, if you look at it, the chances were the high danger chances the other night were 18-16. So I mean, Paul Maurice pointed to that, saying the only outlier as far as
that is
chances
trying to not let your Florida Panthers heads get too big. That was
that's
a complete
fair.
Ass beating, and
It was an ass beating.
That guy there would text his friends on the bus on the way to the airport and say, "Did you see that ass beating we just put on the Maple Leafs?" And then he has the audacity to talk like a coach.
Just put a Bruins hat on. Just throw one on.
Well,
why is he wearing a Panthers hat? Just throw a Bruins hat.
Is he wrong with what he said? This could be a
Yes.
dangerous team tonight.
Well, I would think so, and I just tried to make that point, and you guys laughed at me.
I didn't laugh at you. I didn't get to chime in yet.
Okay, you go ahead. Go ahead.
I think you used the word pride. I would use the word character. It's the same thing, right? Like, let's see what your character is after, guys are laughing on the ice and it's 6-1 and the fans are pissed and booing you in your own building and that. Like, I was, tongue in cheek the other night with a buddy going, they should have gone on the bird the second after the game and going, we're going to Florida tonight, and to flush your head and to get down there and relax and try and get this game out of your system. Listen, it was awful the other night. To a man, they played awful. The score was lopsided, but they did hit a post. They did have breakaways. They did have stuff that could have changed the game and maybe got their juice going. And that's I get it from when you're in the lead, Paul Maurice is going, hey, I'm trying to keep my team, hungry, all of that type of stuff. Marchand is just different. It's because it's the character. If that was Barkov saying that, you might believe it. It's just you're tainted because it's Brad Marchand talking. That's really what it is.
And it's almost like he was using standard playoff lines that you would say against his former team, the Boston Bruins or the Tampa Bay Lightning. But it was almost like just by looking at him, he was saying things just like standard playoff type lines, knowing that it wasn't truthful. You know what I mean? Like they're going to be fired up and they're going to be hungrier. And it was like, really, are they?
He knows them better than any opponent on earth. Like nobody knows them better than Brad Marchand.
Dude, if they get punted tonight, that's 5 punts for him.
5-0. It would be 4-0 in the Matthews Marner era. 4 times in 9 years, Brad Marchand will be handing out respect in the handshake line.
I see where you're saying, and listen, I don't disagree with the angle, but I also do believe there is truth in that angle. Like that's I do believe that they should be pissed and come out hard and all of that type of stuff that we've been laying out. I think pride / character is a huge factor tonight. And
what else he said there was, basically sports don't always make sense. Something bounces this way or that way. That is one thing, at times in the past you've looked at and you're like, man, they lost 2-1, 3-2. How did they not get that bounce? How did that one not go in? How did that go off the post? Maybe you can marry the two. Again, it feels like we're reaching, but ultimately, if you're being objective and you're not talking about the Leafs, that would be the process that you would look at. You'd say, okay, this team is going to have a bounce back. This team is too good. This team is too veteran, which they are. They're not a bunch of kids that don't know what they're doing. Bounces, maybe they break your way tonight, and then all of a sudden you're up early in the game because it goes off a skating in.
Well,
and all of a sudden the pressure's on Florida because that's something that's flipped, right? Like when it was 2-0 Leafs, and then it got to a point where everything started flipping the other way. When it's 2-2, 3-2, now it's like Florida's expected to win. Pressure's on them. Will they take their foot off the gas? Seems hard to believe because of the way they're wired, but we just saw it in the Cup final. They're up 3-0. They took their foot off the gas, and Edmonton made them pay.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue too that Bobrovsky stole a game 2, and there were swing games. It probably shouldn't have been 3-0. It probably should have been 2-1.
I think he arguably stole game 1 too.
Yeah,
I think
you're right. In the Cup final, you're right. But the point I'm making is they got smoked in Edmonton. Like in game 4 and 5, I believe. Game 6 was like 8-0, wasn't it? Like they got smoked.
8-2, 8-1 or something. Yeah,
it doesn't matter what happened last year in the Cup final. The point is Florida, like they get built up by myself and others as this like perfect Drago-like machine. They're not. They're humans. You got to force them into being uncomfortable tonight.
But they're champions and they know how to play, and that's the biggest thing. Like that's the thing that the Leafs. You know what I always think about in these last 3 games? What Vasilevsky said. He said those guys play the exact same way, and then they create their own chances, they create their own puck luck, they create their own bounces. And in games 1 and 2, the Leafs were creating their own bounces, creating their own luck, because they were playing a certain way.
Yeah. And Jamie, to your point, they are the champions, and they do play a perfect game, and they do this and do that. But no matter how good you are or what style you play, the Washington Capitals had a great system and a great style all year long, and they just got crushed by the Carolina Hurricanes. Yeah. They found a way to make them uncomfortable, and they couldn't do squat. That was embarrassing what happened to them. So no matter how good your team is, you could do something to make them think, oh, God, what we do is not good right now. We have some trouble. So it's on the Leafs to do that. Very simple.
Agreed. Did you hear Carberry's comments? Did you watch his press conference? It was all he did was said, like, that team is unbelievable. They work hard. They wear you down. Like, he gave full credit. He said, listen, they deserve to beat us. Like, in watching them, and even Rod's comments after, he said, we don't have an Ovechkin. We don't have superstars. He's like, we got great players that work hard and work within a system, and they deserved it. Like, it was a moldy goal that got it done. I still don't know where it went. The replays, you still can't figure out where it went, if it went 5-hole or far side, but Carolina put them to bed last night.
Listen, Carolina in a conference final after playing only 10 games is mighty impressive.
Very impressive.
It's really impressive, man. They've played 10 games, and they're in the conference final waiting.
Yeah,
and they do feel like a I wouldn't say a sleeping giant, but we haven't. I don't think a lot of people in the hockey world have been paying much attention to it because it's Carolina, Jersey, Carolina, Washington. They got off so quick, and there's all these other stories, and especially up here in Canada, when you got the Leafs and Winnipeg and Edmonton playing, it's just different. Like, it hasn't been at the forefront of a lot of the hockey conversations because, again, it hasn't been like suspensions and all this craziness. It's just been them playing the exact same way you expect them to play, and just cruising, man. Like 10 games is wild, man. 4-1, 4-1, and they're in the conference final. They deserve it. Yep. Full credit to Carolina. And again, the whole Rantanen thing, like they were taking a lot of heat for the way all that played out. Like, they have completely overcome that. And obviously they had to move on, and I give them credit because they clearly saw something there. They're like, we got to move. We got to get this out, and it's not going to adjust what we believe we can still do. And they pulled that off, which is incredible. Yeah. All right, we've got Struddy coming up. Jason Strudwick will join us. We know the Oilers are into the next round, but they're waiting to see who they're going to play. That was big for them last night that Winnipeg beat Dallas. So you get more time for Ekholm, who will not play the first couple of games. Pickard, who I don't believe will be available to open their series, but will be available at some point, likely in the third round. So we'll catch up with Strud on life in Edmonton, what he makes of the Maple Leaf Panther game tonight. And we'll get into a number of things with Strud.
We also got to get the rest of your list. We only got one.
I know. I have more. That's the thing. I have more, but we started playing clips, and we started doing all this different stuff.
Hazy, I just got to tell you before we go to break, one of my good friends at the golf course, he piggybacked. You know when you carved our Carolina team the other day and you forgot that I was on it? Mm-hmm. The guy that I've golfed with for 10 years every Friday said to me going down the second hole, he goes, the whole time Matt Sundin played in Toronto, he didn't have a winger that was worth squat. And then he looked at me and he goes, did you ever play with Sundin? And I said, yes. and then he just says, he was like, wow, you were kind of okay. And then I just drove onto the fairway and it was forgotten.
That's, I was like,
where that's twice.
You got to flush it, man.
You got to flush it, man.
Flush it
twice in
like
2 weeks. Yeah, that team in Carolina was garbage. Oh, I was on that team. And then he came back over the top today with that one. I was like,
yeah,
I guess it is what it is, man.
Yeah, listen, I'm just telling you the viewpoint of people in Toronto were bring on Carolina in 2002. And you guys stomped them. You guys found a way to stop them.
This is one thing we do have to guard ourselves against. Everyone just thinks the winner of this series is going to the Cup.
Well, that's exactly what we're saying. Carolina's waiting for you, man. Carolina is waiting for you.
Yeah.
And they absolutely could be in a Cup final.
Yeah.
All right, Struddy coming up. I've got to complete the list on how the Leafs can win tonight. All right, we'll get to that. Duffy coming up. Dear Hazy B in a couple of hours. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2.
Hazy B, I'm not exactly on CSI Miami, but if I could make one observation, you caught some rays today and you had glasses on. You had glasses on, didn't you?
I don't wear glasses. I do
Sunglasses.
not. I don't do the glasses because I don't want to have the Charlie Hoffman look.
Dude, did you go no bucket?
No, I had a helmet on, man. I was out there with a bucket on, but it was so beautiful and hot and sunny. Like, Shorts guy was everywhere today.
Shorts guy's back. Like, my pants are done.
You're finished.
Yeah, I'm done with long pants.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I mean, I don't know what the weather forecast is moving forward. We're still only in mid-May. It can still be a little bit unpredictable. But I love that guy. Like, golf guy, I got a buddy that will not wear pants to golf. Like, I'm talking.
He's like borderline snowing and he's got shorts on.
Yes. Like, it'll be, a November 3rd, end of the season round where there's a frost delay and it's 4 degrees and this guy's got shorts on.
Really?
And I don't understand that mentality. Like, I get it. Pants are not great, especially just put pants on.
Yeah.
Like, throw on some pants. But, yeah, that's not my style, man. I will rock a short, but I don't wear a sunglass. Like, sunglasses in the sun. You get a bad sunglasses, like, tan line or sunburn, it looks so stupid.
Dude, you get Stuart Sinkhead, man. You ever seen that guy without a hat on?
That was who I was about to reference. I said Charlie Hoffman. Stuart Sink is wild, his head.
Yeah. From just over his eyeballs is golden brown. Doogie, try to find a pic of Stuart Sink with no bucket on, and the rest of his hat, he's got no hair.
Yeah.
It's straight white.
Yeah.
Really?
It's Noodles, you got to see this guy's dome. Like
We
it's
need the
Like
picture
his
now.
wife must dread when he says, "Honey, you want to go out for dinner?" Because
And
this
no
guy
bucket.
looks like a donkey with no golf hat on.
It's a crazy because you got to wear hats like they're a sponsorship and safety and sun in your eyes and all that. But any guy like Stuart Sink is the best example because he's been bald forever basically, and every time on 18 he takes his hat off to shake hands. It's like he has two faces, man. He's like Harvey Two-Face on tour. It's crazy. We got to find that. Doogie, find a picture of Stuart Sink, no helmet on 18.
I'm looking at one right now where it's like tan and then white. Like
it's crazy.
With a dead straight line. Look at that's not even
that
a good
one's
one.
not good enough.
No,
that one's too shiny and he's got white on white.
There is better ones where his face is brown and his dome is white.
There's one on golf.com on Instagram
there's great ones.
ridiculous.
Like when they do
I think it's been like AI adjusted or something. 'cause
possibly there could be some exaggerating online.
Yeah.
But like when they do the Florida swing and this guy it's 32 degrees and sunny all day. It's a wild scene. Yeah, there he is. Look at that dome piece.
Look at that guy.
Well,
Imagine, honey, let's go for some nice sushi.
That's obviously
No
AI
way.
adjusted. That is not.
I don't think so,
Dude,
Noodles.
it's not. Noodles, that's that guy's head.
No, that's the one I was pointing to, saying somebody's messed with
No,
that.
I'm
No,
telling you, man.
that
way.
is Stuart
That's
Sink
Stuart
head.
Sink. That is Stuart Sink.
His wife must fake groin injuries to go out for dinner. She is not going out with that guy for dinner.
Yeah. That guy, he looks like he's from a different planet.
Yes.
Like, that's the kind of thing you would expect to walk out of a spaceship.
Dude,
a head
imagine
like
if that guy was single and he wheeled up at like just a swim-up bar and said, "You come here often with that head?"
He does
No
have,
way, man.
There's another picture on there that is actually, so it might be true because there's another picture that has that
I've seen it, Noodles.
definitive line.
Yes, I've seen it. I've watched it. I've experienced it.
Wow.
That's Stuart
That one.
Sink. Yeah,
That
look at
one.
this guy. It's like a ruler. Like you.
That is ridiculous.
Oh man. Okay. Anyway, here's a guy that never has to worry about that. Tan lines are perfect across the board. Here's Jason Strudwick. How we doing, Struddy?
How am I doing? How are you guys doing? I can feel the intensity all the way from here. And, oh,
Struddy,
man.
shut up, Struddy.
We're
Shut
fine.
up,
We're
Struddy.
fine.
Struddy. We are a solution-based program here. We want to know what we're going to do to get the positive mojo back flowing for Leafs Nation. Talk to us, Goose.
Man, I don't know. I mean, I guess you're not playing the defending Stanley Cup champions. They don't know what this moment's like, so that'll be one check mark against you. But listen, I'm not here to rip on the Leafs. Last game, to me, they accepted defeat. That's what I saw. They said, you could tell they were nervous after the first period. They're down 1-0. Did anyone talk in that room? Did anyone light a fire underneath them, get them going? You know, they accepted it. They just accepted, for the most part, the whole game losing. So it can't happen that again. You got to talk about it. I'm sure someone brought it up. Craig Berube, maybe one of the veteran guys, talked about it. But, you know, it's like you just, you know, as I used to go to the casino when you're playing blackjack and you have a tie and they don't want to take the even money. I'm like, no, I always say to them, I'd rather die on my feet than on my knees. And the Leafs just were on their knees, just accepting defeat. So they can't let that happen again. And I think after 48 hours of thinking about it, I expect them to come out and compete and push back. Because if they do that again, it's over. I mean, it's not even a chance.
No, and that was one of the things we mentioned earlier, like the intangibles, the fact that you've got to have some character, you got to have some pride, you got to show up, and then even then it may not be enough, but it's certainly, at least you're in the fight. And you mentioned Florida, and everyone accepts what they are and what they're likely going to be like tonight and how prepared they're going to be for this game. In terms of the Maple Leafs and their best players, there's been a lot of discussion about their best players and the way that they performed on Wednesday night. What is reasonable from your perspective, Struddy? Like Matthews and Marner in particular. You're going into a game tonight. You're watching it in Edmonton. Oilers are in the third round. It's all good. What are you really thinking you're going to see out of those two players this evening?
Well, listen, there's a lot of being made about the top guys not getting it done. And No one can over across at Jason Strudwick saying, hey, whatever number of minutes make a difference. But what you can, or you got to get us over the top. But what you can do is you can all make a difference. All make a difference. Look at the goal scorers for Florida the other night. You know, there was a lot of first goals in there, and I know that a few guys probably have AJ Greer's rookie card, hoping that skyrockets in value. But he's like a known goal scorer. Kulikov, who else was it? A couple other guys had their first goals of the whole time. So Boquist, there's another guy. So their supporting cast contributed. And so you have to find a way, even if you're an 8-minute, 12-minute, 14, 15-minute guy, you've got to bring it and support those guys, and then you can hopefully launch them into the next level where they can go off and have, a point or two. Because they're also matched up against really good players. There's a lot of good players on Florida. So I think the supporting cast, by challenging Matthews and Marner all the time, I think we are losing the narrative that the supporting cast didn't do it last game. No one did it. No one got not on the board. So I think both groups are responsible for doing it, and there's a lot more supporting cast. They can push harder. Can Marner and Matthews be better? For sure. Yeah, I think for sure they can get to the net a little bit harder and all that stuff. But it's going to take everybody. The other night, the Oilers won. Kapanen scored the winning goal. Kapanen. I think he was a Leaf at one time. No one thought he was going to score. And he wasn't even supposed to play. He plays, contributes. That's how it works. Everyone's got to be a part of it.
So Struddy, when you look at it, the Maple Leafs, I think, had just a terrible game, start to finish. And you mentioned nobody was pulling on the rope. But if you're in that room and you feel like, you're nervous a little bit, you feel like there's a little bit of paralysis instead of just relaxing and playing, what needs to be done? Is it your leaders? Is it your goaltender? Is it your coach? Is it a combination of everything? Because you're right. Like, I think to a man, everybody just looked like they were thinking instead of reacting. And is it just getting to the net? Is it getting pucks to the net? It's not fighting. I don't think fighting is anything, but is it playing whistle to whistle? What would you say maybe one or two things that could help to have them success tonight in Game 6?
Well, two things. So number one, I hate it when people would come to the blue paint because I'm like, oh man, this is going to be a hard night. And a guy like Chris Drury was really good at it. You're just constantly going to the net, and I'm now have to fight you off around the net. There's rebounds or shots. It's just really chaotic. When you stay at a distance, or, I'm thinking of the one play where Matthews walked from behind the net, and I think he had two shots on Bobrovsky. Bobrovsky was square, and it just hit him twice. Could he have taken that puck instead of shooting right away? Could he have maybe driven the back post? Yeah, he would have been hit. Someone would have hit him, but you know what? It's just chaos because now there's bodies flying all over the place. Maybe Bobrovsky isn't quite as square or as set, and there's a rebound there to make it happen. And I would like to see them make it uncomfortable on the goalie by driving the far post. As a demon, I hated when guys would walk and then instead of shooting right away, just take it in front of the goalie and go past them. Because now it's just chaos, and I got to react, and there's other people coming in. So that's something I think that they can do to make Bobrovsky uncomfortable. I'd also love to see one of the big guys do something special early. It doesn't mean a goal. What would it mean if Matthews was able to just unload on someone, took a run at someone the first shift? If you think back to the Oilers game the other night, Connor McDavid back-checked. I think he was somewhere in the North Saskatchewan River. He was so far behind, and he caught all the way up and broke that pass up, crashed into the net. When you're on the bench and you see your best player doing that, I can tell you, it gets you so excited and I want to contribute. I want to be a part of it. So if you're the best player or one of the best players on the team, maybe it's hard for you to score a goal. Doesn't mean you can't still affect the game in some way and be a difference maker so that other players are inspired to do what you're doing, which is giving it everything you got. And, like I said at the beginning, don't accept defeat. Don't accept that we're going to lose this game. Don't have your head down on the bench. Don't look sad. Show that you're a leader and looking down and saying, I'm doing everything I can. I might not be the one scoring tonight, but I'm going to give everything I can, and everybody else better do the same thing.
Strud, do you ever fire up the boys at the Spangler in between periods and say something meaningful that worked?
Yeah, just keep playing me, Pat Quinn. That was about all I had.
Keep throwing Struddy over the bench.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
Yeah, No, I know, guys, like I played with Mark Messier, and he was, he was getting near the end of his career, but you always felt better when he was on the bench because he might throw a check, he might say something, not like a whole let's win one for the Gipper here. But you just felt better when he was on the bench and he was going to do something. And try to create something, or whether it's offense or hitting or a good defensive play, and you follow your leaders. You look around that room, like, look at the guys on the bottom six, forwards. They're looking for someone to do something. They want to be inspired. They want to follow. I didn't see anyone do anything inspirational the other day. Unfair to pick on him, but Matthews had turnovers on the first goal. The third one, Marner's backhand pass, you'll see that at Ogopogo Arena, whatever that rink is called, at men's night. A guy just throws a backhand pass hoping and hits someone. That's not inspiring me. That's frustrating me as a teammate.
We just have to clarify, it's Etobicoke, not Ogopogo. Etobicoke. Say it with me.
Yes. Etobicoke.
It's all the same. Starts with an O. No one cares. It's bad men's league anyways.
Yeah, people understand. We get it. I don't think there's an Etobicoke Community Center either, or hockey rink for that matter.
The capital
with Jason Strudwick. So, Strud, what is the deal with McDavid the other night? They go into Vegas, they win in overtime, and he's bent out of shape about Skinner.
He
and how
hates that one guy talking about defending.
The one guy bothered him so
Whoever
much.
asked him that question, he wanted to scissor kick him in the face.
Yeah, what's his deal? Does he not realize that they're halfway home to the Stanley Cup, or is that just not enough for him?
Well, to me, he was madder after a serious clinching win than Matthews and his buddies were after a loss, which is crazy to me. He was angry. He was mad about the Skinner comment. He was also asked about, what is it like for this team to finally play a defensive game and win it? He's like, we've been doing that. That's why do people keep asking this? We've done this before, and I like it. I like a fiery Connor McDavid because, again, the teammates are listening, right? Other teams are listening, and they're not satisfied. They're not. I mean, I probably would have gone out in Vegas, but they're probably not going out after a big win, having a good time. So I think he is singularly focused on winning the Stanley Cup, and nothing else matters. I don't think he cares about any other series win. They're important to get done, but I don't think to him it's anything worth celebrating. The only thing to celebrate is getting to lift a cup with 8 more wins.
Yeah, and I can appreciate that. I mean, that's a great mentality to have, and I think it speaks to what you were just talking about. Like, the leaders are going to lead and kind of set the tone, and if that's his mentality, that's his approach, everyone else is going to fall in line. Do you have a rooting interest in terms of it favoring the Oilers? Would it be Dallas, Winnipeg? Who do you think they would prefer to play in the next round?
I think that the best thing can happen for the Oilers is this going to Game 7, this series. I mean, Winnipeg last night, Hellebuck, I didn't think it'd be incredible. He was good. And Dallas is a good team, so I think the longer that series goes, that's the best. I think both are good teams. I really do. And, maybe Winnipeg, if they're able to win this series, they get more confidence, right? And their goalie gets a little more confidence, which is crazy to talk about Hellebuck like that. But if I had to pick after going 7 games, I would choose Winnipeg to play if I was the Oilers. I think Dallas has got the depth. Heiskanen back now. Onger, he's a good goalie. So that's the team I would probably roll with. But, if you're the Oilers, their game's looking pretty good, right? Skinner's coming back in. They're getting scoring from all over the lineup. I think my concern for them right now is their power play, which is, I can't believe that's what I'm worried about. But their power play, hasn't been great. And specifically last game, they're really stagnant, guys. So they have some time here. They're going to practice a few days. I'd be really focused on that power play and look at what Dallas has done, because Dallas is doing it pretty good in the PK against Winnipeg till, I think, last night. Didn't they have 2 goals? I think Winnipeg on the power play. So I'd be watching what Winnipeg's done against them and what Dallas has been doing as a penalty kill.
Well, also, Winnipeg had the number 1 power play in the league this year. They were really good.
Right.
Strud,
Right.
Did you pay any attention to this Carolina-Washington series? Because Carolina's just played 10 games and they're waiting for everybody. I mean, this has been a master class, and I don't feel like anybody's given them any respect.
It's hard, and I've tried. I watched their game before the Oilers game 4, and I almost fell asleep. It's not very exciting. And then the Oilers game comes on, and Vegas Oilers are running each other, and it kind of wakes you up again. But this is what I like about the Canes. I feel like this team reminds me a little bit of when they won in 2006. They're 4 lines deep. They all play the same way. You could take the name bars and the numbers off the back, and they just roll them out, just coming at you, one shift after another. We play fast. We attack, get pucks to the net. We're just playing so quick that I think that they're going to be hard to beat, and they'd be annoying. And because every shift they play the same, there's no one's taking shifts off. Rod the Bod won't let you take the shift off. So they've looked good, and I think we're all not giving them enough respect, because now you're going into, they got to play, I guess, Toronto, Florida next, and that'd be interesting. Can those two teams keep the pace of what these guys and how they play in it? So yeah, they have not got the respect, but I think the other three series have been more compelling by a long way.
Absolutely. Speaking of respect, this is the 1-year anniversary, Struddy, of when you enlightened me that it's a long weekend in Alberta. So I appreciate that. I've never forgotten that. It's great to know you guys are going to get Monday off too out there. You deserve it. And we love you. We love everything about the West, man. We love it.
I love it. Well, I just want to thank you for having me on, because you guys never have me on when the Leafs are losing, the Oilers are winning. So we should mark this as an anniversary as well. First time in how many years that this has happened, guys?
It's been a long time. It's been a long time, Struddy.
Congrats.
It's been a long time. A couple of anniversaries marked today. We appreciate it. Enjoy the long weekend, Struddy. We'll do it again soon.
Oh, man, I can't wait. Enjoy the game tonight, guys. I love the stress level. It's so much fun. Enjoy it.
Jason Strudwick joining us from Edmonton, Alberta.
You don't think he's going to have stress if they play Dallas or Winnipeg?
Oh, yeah.
Those teams are really good too. I mean,
but it is a great place to be in when your team's through and you're just watching other teams grind. And
Hey,
fight.
you want to look at a great example for the Leafs last night, guys? Just watch that Winnipeg game. Some of their skilled players showed up on special teams. They've had a performance in net. Like they played hungry. They fought for their lives. Like
because their lives were on the line. Like that's the thing.
That was playing according to the situation. That's what I talked about in the first segment. Play according to the situation.
Okay, so then at 6:53 before we sign off, you want to play Rocky? You want to play There Is No Tomorrow?
Yes,
you want to play something like that?
I think it's got to be played.
Is it like, which one was that? Was that?
That's because that's when Rocky went out to California to train
he's on
with
the beach.
Apollo Creed.
Yeah, so Apollo's
and they were
yelling
running
that,
on the
right?
beach, and he stopped, and he looked at him, and he goes, "What's wrong with you?" And then he looked at Adrian, and he said, "I'm afraid. I'm afraid." And then they ran and jumped in the water after that segment. That's one of the most motivating segments. Like, I still get fired up when I see that.
All right. It's coming up later this afternoon. It's that simple. James Duthie will join us. We got MJ coming up from Sweden, as well as the Worlds continue. Dear Hazy B a little bit later this afternoon. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2. All right, we're tracking the PGA Championship round 2. It's been a weird leaderboard, man. Weird leaderboard and some fun stuff happening.
Dude, that's
out there.
Shane Lowry. This guy with a pro barrel walked out in the fairway today and told Shane Lowry, "You're not picking." The ball was clearly embedded into the ground. And he looked at, imagine a guy coming out and saying, "You're just hitting that." I've never seen a pro golfer have to hit a golf ball that was embedded into the grass.
I can't believe how bad that ruling was. Furthermore, it was on the fairway. You know, like which again, that shouldn't make a difference in terms of embedded. But if anything, you're like, the guy should. It's the fairway, man. Like that. What are you doing overruling that?
I know.
And he chunks it out and then takes a pelt out of it too. Afterwards,
he wanted to grab the guy with the pro barrel and strangle him right.
He was so angry at that guy.
Man.
Yeah, he was really angry at that guy, and I think deservedly. That is a horrible ruling to
like.
Make him hit
What
that
could
ball.
the reasoning be where he said, "Actually, you don't get relief from that. It's just you got to play it as it like." It was embedded in the fairway.
Yeah, you could only see half the ball. Like it was crazy that they didn't give him the ability to pick that ball up and drop, and he's freaking out. He's losing his mind. John Vegas is currently leading the tournament. Which
I know, John Vegas.
Crazy.
I love that name.
It had a weird vibe today. It was like a weird leaderboard, and it kind of somebody sent me a text saying I didn't sign up for the John Deere Classic.
Yes, that's what it felt like exactly. Now I will say, Scheffler's at 4 under now. He's still out there. Like Scotty's starting to put some eyeballs on the top of the leaderboard.
That will make some shorts melt off of some golfers. Not because of heat.
No. If you're Jonathan Vegas, if you're Alex Smalley.
Look at this animal came out and told Shane Lowry, play it as it lies.
The pro barrel.
I love that guy with tight talk.
That guy just had Bojangles and wheeled out there and said, play it as it lies.
Yeah, that's our guy. That's a guy that would love our show.
Yeah,
too.
it would just chap
That guy
Lowry's
and the guy
ass.
from the NHL. The guy from the NHL in the hotel lounge.
That guy said to
Yes.
one of his buddies, watch me go screw over Shane Lowry right now.
Yeah. He was excited to get out there with that ruling. He really was. And he gave him one, and he didn't want to hear it. But Pendrith is 3 under for the tournament, Taylor Pendrith, so we do have some Canadian content there. McElroy's 4 under on the day now, 1 under on the tournament. So it feels good for him making the cut and possibly starting to skyrocket up. And DeChambeau's at 3 under for the tournament, too. So there are some big names there.
Dude, that's a big clawback for Rory, man.
Yeah.
+3 to go 1. Like, that's awesome.
Big time, man. Big time. And he's still on the course. Hour 2 coming up. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on the TSN app.